right, cool. So I'm here with William the Great. So this is Jesse Call and my friend here, William. We just met a few days ago, and William's just going to tell a little bit about his story and a couple other synchronistic things. So go ahead, William, and speak up a little bit.
My name's William.
So that, yeah,
William the Great. Met Jesse the other day at a Maverick, and he was watching this female paint on this wall, and it was an awesome painting. Got to see it.
Muriel Sukasa, right?
Sukasa.
By the Maverick, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful work. He's letting her listen to the music out of his car. Yeah, all right. Guy has time on his hands. So you go, and I get his number, and he's telling me a little bit about himself, and he's got a good vibe for him, good energy, and I definitely needed that at that moment. I am currently homeless, hanging out at the library downtown, and I have a friend of mine that came up to me and wanted me to watch his dog, and so I say, okay. He comes back out, come to find out, he's getting an interview done. I'm thinking to myself, I'm supposed to have an interview now. Put two together, go figured it was the same person, Jesse. And
just kind of met by chance?
just like, it was almost a setup here. But we're good with that. we're good with this.
We're out of paranoia. We can see synchronicities.
So far, so good. I've been homeless for 6.5 years, and I'm a single father of a beautiful 13-year-old girl right now, and who's not in my life currently due to me being homeless and me being an addict. I've been an addict for several years now, but I finally kicked it with methamphetamines. I'm proud to say I'm a clean person. I'm still getting stoned off weed though, once in a while.
Excellent.
But things will hopefully work out with that one. So I grew up here in Salt Lake. Great parents. I have 3 older brothers. I'm the youngest, and my oldest brother was probably I looked up to the most in my family. Due to that, my brother ended up committing suicide back in '97, and that was a big impact on me. And I changed. I started spiraling downhill. I have another brother in prison. He can't seem to get his shit straight. I don't think he ever will. But that's his prison life. I'm never going there. He looks up to me because I'm out here on the streets and I'm not in prison. So I'm the older brother, and when it comes to him, I have another older brother who's a doctor up at the university. Kind of took my dad's role when he passed away. Very smart, too smart. As my mom says, he's a good child.
Every family's got to have one.
Yeah, every family's got to have one. I'm just kind of stuck in the middle there, and I'm not the bad one, but I'm not the good one. And what did they do with me?
So, how did you kind of get started? What would you say? We were talking a few minutes earlier about maybe somewhat of a catalytic event in your life.
Yes. Well, there's actually a few of them. After I graduated high school, I decided to move to Boston. Told my dad I was going to move to Boston. He's like, "Oh, you'll be back in a week. I'll buy you a ticket." Well, I didn't come back in a week. I came back in a couple of years, married with a grandchild, or his first grandchild, and which obviously meant tremendous to him. He
That was something that he valued.
very much so.
Grandkid.
Me and my dad didn't get along growing up. I was kind of the mama's child, or I just did my own thing. I don't know what it was. That was my dad. Great man though. Very respectful, smart man. He did. He loved me. But we didn't have that relationship. When I moved away, he became one of my best friends. And as the youngest, being the first to move away on his own, to just give it a wing, you know what, I think that said a lot to him. I grew up with a learning disability. Couldn't read, couldn't write. In fact, my daughter is the one that taught me how to read.
Wow.
And she is by far one of my heroes. For her, I started using a lot of drugs. My daughter didn't like that. And I taught my daughter to make choices. And she knows that whatever happens, happens. She's responsible. Age 6, she tells me, "Dad, people make decisions and then act on it." All right.
Then she taught you to read.
She taught me how to read. And she's all, "Dad, you need to go. I'm going to go live with Mom." I raised her by myself up until that point. I lost my place. I gave my ex-wife a house, a car. I mean, everything that I worked for in my life is.
So what did you do as work for work?
I was a foreman for Reynolds, it's a construction company, and then from there, I did that for a couple years, and then I had to quit due to my health. And
So, let me just, if you don't mind, pause you right there for a second, Mr. Would you mind talking about that experience that you told me about
Yep.
when you're driving?
but that's where I'm getting to.
Okay, all right, my apologies.
I haven't moved away yet.
You're way ahead of me.
When I moved away to Boston, I actually worked as a manager at Friendly's, it's a little restaurant. Drive my boss's car to go pick up some spices and stuff. 55 down Main Street, and I hit a 70-year-old man. And fortunately, the man didn't survive that accident, and it caused a lot of issues with me. Luckily, it was witnessed, and people, vouched that this kid just walked out in the middle of the road.
It wasn't your fault.
It wasn't my
No
fault.
way to avoid that.
I didn't learn that until much later. Regardless of them telling me it wasn't my fault. I still didn't. I still thought it was my fault.
Yeah.
You know, I remember his wife coming up to me and saying, and shaking my hand and saying, after 70 years of his life, he's never been hit by a car. And that stuck with me. Fortunately, I don't blame her. I don't hold anything against her. But I'm sorry I was the first one to do that. You know. So I bought flowers, all the flowers for the funeral. Never went to the funeral. I bought the flowers just for my sake. My wife was working with me at the restaurant. She was at work, and she didn't have any clue, but that's what happened. Car's totaled. Guy's embedded in front of the car. I've learned to manage it by myself. Never counseling. Never any kind of doctors or anything like that. And it's been really hard. I have dreams. They've gotten better, but I'm still awake. I'm still waking up in the morning. That's all I gotta say. And for that, I thank you. There's my high school sweetheart. I ended up hooking up with her. Haven't seen her for years. She's a beautiful daughter. Call her my golden child because she's half black. Now, DCFS came and took her away because my girlfriend was in some sort of program and she got drunk and she got in trouble. 3 days later, I get this bad feeling in my stomach at work, and I look at my boss in the middle of my shift, says I gotta leave. I went and picked up my daughter from daycare, went home, quiet. Her name's Katie, my girlfriend. She was usually home. It was quiet, and I just had this bad, eerie feeling. Go downstairs, and I find her hanging on a rope. My daughter, her to see something like that, and go through something like that, after dealing with my dad's death, she's the strongest girl I've ever met. She's the one that got me through it. She was my significant other.
She what?
She was my significant other. You know, I dated her from 9th grade to 12th grade. She lived with me from 11th grade to 12th grade. And she was my partner.
You're saying that she was your soulmate.
She was my soulmate.
Your soulmate.
She was my soulmate. I believe that. I know that. And I know she didn't mean to do it to hurt anybody. I know she was in a lot of pain with having her daughter. Her daughter was everything to her. Because there was that period after I graduated to that point when she wasn't with me. And that's when I got married, and well, from there, shit really hit the fan and became homeless. Right on the streets, right down to the shelter. And I remember talking to this guy, and he's like, you know what? Let's go get a hotel room. You can relax tonight. And this is taking in quite a bit. Which, he's a nice guy. We try to have 2 girls come with us, but I'm not like that. But I made some good friends. Being homeless for this long and not having any kind of relationships with my immediate family, they became my family. And I had to do what I had to do. And it's been an experience that I'll never forget. I'll never go back and change it though.
Yeah.
Because I've learned a lot of it. Material things, man. I've lost, I don't know how many times I've lost all my stuff. Continuous, starting over. But I tell you, you never get used to it.
You never get used to it.
You never get used to it.
Yeah. Got the same bite and sting every time your shit disappears.
Yeah, I mean, and just being homeless, you don't get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
I think about it at least once a day. And how miserable this is to be homeless.
Yeah.
And how hard it is.
Yeah.
But I also look back and I see all my friends and family out there that don't want to change. And how they are immune to it, or they're, I don't know. I don't get it. But I know I need to get myself out. And it's been a struggle.
Yeah.
Day in, day out.
And you said how many years you've been on the street?
6.5.
6.5. And just to reflect on a little bit of what you said, we kind of all have our paths that we've chosen, right?
Yeah.
And what I've seen in the homeless people that I've met, they're choosing the fast track because it's the hardest. And it's a Buddha thing. There's a Buddha saying that has to do with suffering. When we resist suffering, we have more suffering.
Okay.
When we learn to not resist suffering and go get in flow, things change. But I'm talking about everybody, like people, like you mentioned your family, right? Mm-hmm. So your family's probably built some kind of a barrier or wall, and
Absolutely.
you're outside of that because of certain whatever, homeless, drugs, whatever, and then on the other side of that wall is a lot of pain and crap that goes on with them, right? And they've got major issues. So everybody's got major issues.
Absolutely.
Seems like a common steady.
Yep.
So it's not about strata, it's about connecting.
Yep. And it is. And it's getting connecting. There's getting fewer and fewer to connect with. And me personally, I have that feeling in my gut and how I feel in general that I'm the next to go in line. And I say that because I've been told that things don't look good in my health.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I was diagnosed with heart failure. And that one's the one that's really hurting me right now. I have tough times breathing all the time. Today's been medium so far. And I mean, I feel it right now. I feel it It's and I don't know what to do about that, but to listen to those doctors. I also have the polycystic kidneys, the same as my dad.
Kidney disease, polycystic kidney disease.
It grows cysts around the kidneys,
Cysts.
basically shuts down the kidneys. I'm the first one in my family, because it's hereditary, to diagnose with it on all organs, literally. Cysts growing everywhere.
Wow.
And then it's putting those two together. It's been a battle for me, my girlfriend.
What's your doctor say about a prognosis? Does he tell
My
you?
daughter.
Doctor?
He says, he wasn't specific about 6 months, but he's like, you need to be taking care of yourself and resting and doing your, like, being in med bed, you know what I mean? But he doesn't realize that I'm on a street.
Right.
Well, he does, but there's nothing he really can do.
Right.
I know that they're trying to help me get my disability, and they're willing to do whatever they need to do to get that going. But I don't know what it is with being on the street. It's so hard for me not to be on the street.
Right.
You know, I'm going to all the resources I need to go to. I'm going to all the people I need to talk to, and it's just a runaround. I'm a very stubborn person, and when it comes to that, I'm gonna take care of myself out there.
Yeah.
And by that, I'm pushing myself too hard.
Yeah. And so let's kind of end off here, and maybe we'll do another part 2 later. But just briefly, we don't need to get into a bunch of specifics right now, but one of the stories I hear a lot is there's all these resources out there. Why don't they go take advantage of them? But you do, and you run into blocks all the time, right?
Yep. And that's my issue, is those walls that I'm trying to climb. It's like, well, one person will tell me, all right, you need to go talk to this person now. I'll go talk to that person. The person will tell me, oh no, you need to go back to that other person and talk to.
Yeah.
I don't know if these people just don't know what they're doing, or they're doing it on purpose because there's so many of us out on the streets.
Just can't handle all there are none of resources.
Right. So I mean, you can't blame them there if that's the case.
But you really don't know for sure. All you know is you're running into these blocks.
All I know is I can't get myself off the street.
Yeah.
And I won't go stay at the shelter.
Yeah. Because
of the drug use.
Yeah.
Because of that's the trigger.
You'll
for
die
me.
quicker.
And I don't want that around me.
Yeah.
And it's going to be there no matter what. That's not going to change that.
Right.
And matter of fact, I'll probably get worse there than, before it gets better. And I want nothing to do with that. Was I a part of that? Yeah.
Yeah.
You bet I was.
So now you got blocks you've been running into. You're past the drug problem, but now the energy that it requires to deal with all that bureaucracy, you're running out of energy. Okay, we're gonna do something about this. There's hope. There's some things I want to talk to you about that I haven't discussed with you yet. So we'll end off here, and I want to thank you, William. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to appreciate you having the balls to come on camera and talk about your story. So thank you.
Thank you.